They already went into Dallas. They punched everybody in the face, and they gave them the DDT on the way out. They're going into San Francisco, and they're going to do the same thing. And then they're going to the conference championship. I'm not even a Packers fan, but go Pack, because they're better than the Bears.
Y'all are really leaning hard into this zero credibility here. I'm just saying.
It's divisional playoff weekend in the NFL after a maybe wild, NFL wild card. Guys, I went 5-1 on my wild card picks. How did you guys fare on that?
Well, we didn't go 5-1. Thanks for reminding us.
Crickets.
I don't keep score. I just assumed that was perfect and went on.
That's why this is the zero credibility podcast. 100% hot
pick I
takes.
missed was not my fault. The players just didn't play hard enough.
Right. In theory, everything that I did was correct. I don't know how they executed, so I cannot be held responsible for the lack of execution there. That's all I can say.
That's the key. Blame other people. All right, let's move on to it. The AFC Divisional Playoffs will start there. Huge game last week for the Texans. Now they get the beef. They go to Baltimore to play the Ravens. JT, talk to me. Who you like in this one?
Last week I liked those Texans. I won a little money on those Texans. I kept seeing that line really move against them, and they're a good team. C.J. Stroud has gotten hot at the right time. Will Anderson, their two rookies, continue to lead on both sides of the ball, and he's got some wide receivers that are really waking up and doing some good. I still think they're running it back away next year, but this is a team that's going to contend year in, year out. Unfortunately, they're coming up against the Baltimore Ravens. They're coming up against who should be the league MVP, Lamar Jackson, getting to play at home, getting to get his team back out there on the field. You've got a great rookie wide receiver on that side of the ball with Zay Flowers, a defense that really knows how to rally around. And I hate to say it, Texans, great win last week. I thought you guys had an excellent season. C.J. Stroud, you proved everyone wrong. We were coming into that draft, and it's like, how was this guy not the unanimous number one overall pick? Oh, he did really poorly on that test. Well, I think we all see now that test doesn't matter. But, man, enjoy this offseason because you're not going to get past these Ravens. It's going to take a whole lot for anyone to get past these Ravens. This game is theirs. But, Texas, I'm excited to watch you next year again.
Good pick, Bubba.
Jansen, you just said it. First of all, can we take a minute and show the absolute amount of turnaround and respect for the Houston Texans, for the new coaching staff, for the new team? They went from almost having the number one pick, but for Lovie Smith calling a no-nonsense touchdown at the end of the season, they would have had the number one pick. They ended up with the number two pick. They took C.J. Stroud, and they've gone from the next worst team in the league to a serious playoff contender, where we're literally talking. We're sitting here talking about they have a chance against the Ravens. I cannot get over how impressive and how young this team is. They're building something special in Texas, and it starts with the GM and it starts with the head coach. And it's amazing to see what can happen with a team when you get it right and you put in the effort. That being said, you're coming up against the Ravens. You're coming up against Harbaugh. You're coming up against Lamar, who is balling out this season. He got paid, and he's playing like he got paid. And they get Mark Andrews back off of IR this week, it looks like. So, unfortunately for you, you're not quite there yet. Texans are building something special in Houston. They're going to be great. Right now, they don't have it. I'm going to pick against them again. Prove me wrong again. But I'm taking the Ravens.
All this love for the Ravens. You talk about how great the Texans are, how much respect you have for them, and then you go with the big but. You know what? You're as good as well just say, hey, this team sucks. We don't like them. They might as well not even show up. That's what I heard. I didn't hear this love fest. Nice try. Here's your participation trophy. I'm not going for that, guys. You guys want the Ravens? You want the Lamar Jackson smoke? You know what? Texas wants some of that because they got an Alabama guy leading the charge. Wish he would have been the next head coach to replace Saban. You guys said it was a long shot. I guess you were right. Here we are. I'm going the Texans, led by an Ohio State. C.J. Stroud is going to put up big numbers, and then Will Anderson is going to have a sack fest because that guy is athletic enough to keep the Lamar Jackson in check. He won't stop him, but it'll keep him in check, and it'll be enough. Give me the Texans.
So this is a little bit like when you picked Alabama over Michigan and went to those head coaches, and that was a hardball too. And how did that turn out for you, G?
Hey, if you're going to be wrong, be confident.
If anybody knows about big butts, it's definitely you, G.
Well, if you've seen my butt, you realize that it's like a just shelf. It drops off. Anyways, enough of that. We will keep it in the AFC. Go into the Bills and the Chiefs, which luckily this one is not on Peacock. Maybe somebody in America will actually witness the game.
Thank God.
Bubba, we'll start with you.
You know, it's going to be outside. It's going to be cold. It's going to be snowy. But both of these teams had that experience last week, and they're going to play it again. These teams are tied. I think in all of their appearances against each other. I think Mahomes and Allen are 3-3. Both have 3 wins against each other. So it's a very close game. It's always been very close between the two of them. There's just something in Kansas City. They keep finding a way to win that they shouldn't right now. Mahomes doesn't have the receivers. Kelsey has fallen off of a step. I'm not saying he's not still an elite tight end. He's just taken a step off of him. I don't know if it's injuries, if it's
Taylor.
It's Taylor, whatever. He's taken a step off. He doesn't have the fight anymore. Allen is a gunslinger. In weather like this, you got to get up early. You got to hold. The Bills are just a little bit better. I don't have the trust in Kansas City this week. Give me the Bills to take it this week.
JT.
You know, anytime these two teams tee off, it's exciting for the fans. And that's who wins here, because these games are never boring. They never lack. I mean, these are the games. It's the Bills and the Chiefs that literally changed the rules. Overtime got changed because of it was a playoff game a couple of years ago with these two. And it seems like they always find themselves in primetime spots. This is, I think, on a 4:30, a little bit later on a Sunday. It's one that the whole world's going to watch, because guess what? You've got 2 of the best quarterbacks in the whole league teeing up with everything on the line. Loser goes home. But here's where I think I differ than you, Bubba, because when I see and I watch what Josh Allen does, he's got that Favre in him. We've talked about that. He's living on that sling and a prayer. But Mahomes and his team is starting to build some chemistry that looks a little bit different. You say he doesn't have any wide receivers. That Ricky Rice, that guy's good. And he is getting better and better rhythm. Now, I get Travis Kelce has fallen off. If he could get a little bit of last year Kelce to show up, then it's a no-brainer. It's the Chiefs hands down. But I think Kelce will be put in a manageable game. And the thing you didn't talk about is just how underrated this Chiefs defense has been. What a stellar group. And really a group of what I'd say largely no names. Like when you look at that list, when you look at who's on there, there's no one that gets you overly excited in name value, but they play well together. They play hard together. And maybe the best meme I saw all last week was Tyreek Hill giving Snead credit for how much he pressed him on the line and put him on his back. Even Tyreek Hill, the best wide receiver in the league, says, props, man, your defense is doing something special. So give me the Chiefs this week. They're going to roll on to the next round. They may not go much further than that, but they're going to put the Bills out of their misery this week.
Bills.
Just that simple.
Bills. Everybody counted them out. They're letting all the naysayers know, right? Bills. That's it. That's it. Bills. Or for you, Bubba, da Bills. There we go.
Bills.
Da Bills. All right, enough of that. Josh Allen, love you. They got the running game going, and they're using both tight ends. That's why I like it. Here we go. Let's kick it over to the NFC. We'll stop by for the Bucks and the Lions. And the Lions, baby. Ooh, if you are a Detroit Lions fan and you have lived through the years and decades of just lackluster performance, man, you are excited. Do their dreams stay alive? JT, let me hear it.
What a fun game this is going to be. You know, last week, my wife was walking back and forth through some of the games. It was like every game's a blowout. Well, every game except that Lions-Rams game. They gave us a run all the way to the finish. They gave us something to hang on to. They gave us something to watch. And I think they're going to do it again. They're going to do it up against a team that, as one of the Lions players said, if they only had a quarterback. But let me tell you, I've said it before, every time I doubt Baker Mayfield, he shows me wrong. And he's got the wide receivers. He's got a running back that's looking really good, and he's got a defense that's above average as well. But it's not going to be this week for them. This Lions team, they're going to continue their historic run, and I'm going to tell you why. It's not any of the players on the field. It's Dan Campbell. It's that head coach. There's not a head coach that gets me more excited and ready to run through a wall than Dan Campbell. He's going to get the team pumped up. They're going to take this one to victory.
Nice. All right. Well, I'll cut in here. I'll go a little bit out of rhythm. I think the biggest thing that the Bucs have to worry about is the weather in Detroit. And that's going to be a phenomenal factor because it's 72 degrees and it's indoors. I don't know if you guys.
It's a dome. It's a dome.
Did you hear the reporter ask Coach Bowles that question about that? So hey, all things big and the same. Not much analysis here. I'm going Detroit. To your point, JT. Gotta love old Coach. Gotta love Coach. Coach looks like he could just strap it on right now and just absolutely knock you out of your socks. And because you got a coach like that, I'm going with Detroit. And you know what? Besides the fact that Michigan's already had a very successful season in football, go blue. I'm not a blue fan, but you guys got me. Bring the hate. Detroit, let's go with it. Bubba.
Detroit is building a great team as well. We talked earlier about the Texans and what they're doing in the culture down there. They're also building that culture in Detroit of people that want to run through walls for their head coach. On the other side, we've talked a lot about who is the comeback player of the year. DeMar Hamlin literally died last year and came back and played. Joe Flacco came off the bench and took the Browns to the playoffs. What about Baker Mayfield? What about the man that, I don't know if y'all saw the meme this week, Baker Mayfield was running scout team defense for the Panthers this time last year. Or not this time because the Panthers were eliminated, but last year. They said he was literally doing scout team defense on the edge, just helping out as a body, and now he's won in the playoffs. He's won a game, and I saw the other stat this week. Baker Mayfield has 2 wins in the playoffs. Cleveland Browns only have 1 in that time, and that 1 win was by Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is a quarterback that does not get the respect. He's got a great veteran team around him, guys that are playing for guys that were coached up by Brady, guys that are playing for a last championship because they're about to be out of the league. I am all for the resurgence in Detroit. I love the excitement in Detroit. I love everything that's happening. Give me the Bucs and Baker Mayfield because I believe in Baker, baby.
Baker Mayfield. It is who we all wanted Johnny Manziel to be.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
That's fair.
I saw that meme earlier. It's out there. Okay. Final stop
Hashtag
here.
trademark.
Hashtag trademark Chubby Tackle. 49ers, Packers. Woo! Didn't see that one coming last week. Cowboys fan. Wow, they're hurting. I feel for you. Golly. I mean, 3 12-5 seasons and you get this? You get this at home? Ooh, wow. Okay. Wow. Didn't see that one come in. Jordan Love, spectacular. The Packers just pounded in the hate last week. That score, no. That score could have been 50-7. I mean, it was bad. But anyways, what greater place to start than with you, Bubba? Give us your thoughts here. I know you love the Packers.
Speaking of blowouts, the 49ers going to absolutely blow out the Packers. I mean, the only way the Packers win the game last week is in the midst of the Cowboys' annual collapse in the playoffs. I mean, death taxes and the Cowboys collapsing in the playoffs, we can count on it every single year. And that's what happened last week. The Cowboys were just like, we've got paid. We're done. We've got our bonuses. We're done. Who really cares? Very simple. The 49ers are a special team. They're probably going to end up in the Super Bowl right now. Make it easy. 49ers, blow them out. FTP. Give me the Niners.
JT.
You touched on last week's game, and man, that game made me happy. It made me almost as happy to watch what Stephen A. Smith was doing to celebrate on the side as my second least favorite team, the Cowboys, just got absolutely demolished. Panthers are my least favorite, worst owner ever. But let's talk about this week. 49ers, we've got them coming in against this really hot young Packers team. But the 49ers are a solid team. They had that kind of dip in the middle of the year, but they've got C-Mac. They've got Mr. Irrelevant, who looks like an MVP. They've got Deebo Samuel, who had a resurgence after a really down 22, come back in a defense that all the way around is solid top to bottom. But you know who else was solid top to bottom on the roster? The Cowboys. And what did those Packers do? They threw all over them. They ran all over them. They said, we're here, and we're not a laughingstock. We're not the Packers that were in the first 6-7 weeks when we were still getting to know each other and learning how to play this game. We've grown as a team. We've grown in the stat line, and we're somebody that you should look after and watch for. And for that reason, I think the 49ers, after this week of off, they're coming. They may not be in rhythm as much. They may not have everything back together. I think they're going to get caught off guard. They're going to get caught off guard that Jordan Love can throw the ball. And those young wide receivers can catch the ball and run afterwards. And then Aaron Jones, coming off some injuries this year, looks like the strongest running back maybe left in the playoffs, period. And so for that reason, I think the Packers, it's not going to be a blowout again, but give me them for the upset. It's going to come down to the wire. It may be down to a field goal at the very last second, but I'm taking the Pack to win it one more time this year. They're going to be the upset of those 49ers.
FTP. Well, that's not where I'm going. Here, JT, you nailed it, man. There's something about that first round bye. It can be a blessing or it can be a curse.
100%.
And more than lately, it seems like it's almost a curse. You get a little too comfortable. You get a little bit in your head watching these other team plays. You get a little bit worried about a result that you didn't think would happen. I'm getting amped up because I know I'm going to see the star in San Francisco. I know I'm going to see America's team, and they're going to come over here. But you know what? That didn't happen. And you probably were doing initial prep work for the boys. I know teams don't say that they do that. They absolutely do that. That's why you
100%.
pay these staff millions of dollars to do it. They're focused on that. Now I got a little bit of a curveball. And never underestimate a team that is hungry, that nobody believes in, that everybody canceled out. I saw a stat, and it may be more now, that Jordan Love in his last 4 games is 16 touchdowns to 1 interception. That's a pretty incredible ratio. It may be more. I don't know if that considers his last game. That is on a streak. Give me the Packers. The Packers are hungry. They already went into Dallas. They punched everybody in the face, and they gave them the DDT on the way out. They're going into San Francisco, and they're going to do the same thing. And then they're going to the conference championship. I'm not even a Packers fan, but go Pack, because they're better than the Bears.
Y'all
I love it.
really leaning hard into this zero credibility here. I'm just saying. really leaning hard into it.
Lean in. All right.
It's going to be 100% takes, not Bubba. That's our zero credibility.
100%.